Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to episode 219 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Geige, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
Doing good. Excited to announce another feature.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting town hall. Have some really fun stuff to walk through with all of you. I see. I've been enjoying reading the guesses tonight, which is awesome. If this is your first time here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. We do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you all do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. That's why we're calling it Ask StreamYard. So if there's anything you'd like us to touch on tonight, feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll do our best to get to as many as we can. Assume we'll have lots of fun stuff to cover with the new feature. And then I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional stream. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. See people tuning in from all over the world tonight. Very, very, very cool. We got Fernando from Brazil. We got Timothy from the Canary Islands. I think that's a new one. Very, very cool. Before I forget, we have lots of awesome content on the StreamYard YouTube channel and other social channels. We got YouTube channel reviews with Dee and Daniel the second Saturday of every month. Really fun show if you're looking to grow on YouTube. Both Dee and Daniel are pros when it comes to growth, live streaming, video, all things on YouTube. So can give you really great insights when it comes to thinking about your audience, things like your title, your tags, all the great YouTube stuff. So definitely check that one out. And then for some more specific live streaming tips, check out Enhance Your Live Streams the last Tuesday of the month with Nick Nimmin. Again, Nick is pro when it comes to all things video, but tune into that for your specific live stream questions. And then one thing we've been doing at the start of these so that you get to know a little bit more about us, we get to know a little bit more about you is a fun fact. And the fun fact we had for tonight was favorite fiction book. Do you have a favorite fiction book, Dan?
So I am definitely more of a nonfiction kind of guy, but I have read a few fiction books. I think my favorite one, I read it a few years ago. Gage, I was pretty into AI for a little while, and I was kind of playing around with all different things AI related and reading a bunch of books on the topic. And there's a good fiction book. It's actually a whole series of books called Bobaverse is the name of the series. I don't remember the names of the individual books, but I saw that was like a very well-written, cool, kind of thought-provoking book about the future and AI and all these different things. How about you?
Cool. Like you mentioned, I'm definitely more of a nonfiction reader myself. But I think I'd have to pick just because it'll sound like a strange title, but it was one of the few books that I read several times as a kid was actually Mr. Popper's Penguins, which was an entertaining book, at least for me. Cool.
I'm pretty sure there's a movie for that though.
I've not actually seen the movie, but yeah, there is a movie.
I could be wrong.
No, it came when I was making sure I had the title right. It came up with Jim Carrey, Mr. Popper's Penguins. Cool. So we'll get into assume there'll be tons of questions about the new feature. So we'll get to that really quick here. But first, I just wanted to check if last week we also launched a new feature, which was guest destination. So just wanted to check if any of you have had the chance to try it out, if there's any feedback, anything you'd like to see with it in the future. And if you don't know what it is, basically it's just the ability where, say, you have a guest on your show that you're interviewing that has, their own audience on, say, a different social platform than you, or maybe the same one. And it would be great for you to also be able to stream to their channels. This basically just gives them an easy way to also connect their social destination. So you can go live to not only, say, your own Facebook page or your own YouTube channel, but also go, say, out to their LinkedIn page or their Facebook page or their YouTube channel. Anything else to add to that, Dan?
I don't think so. It's really just a great way for both you and your guests to ultimately get more views, which is why it's pretty exciting.
Cool.
So yeah, if anyone's tried it, definitely let us know how it's been working for you. If you have any tips for it, any suggestions, anything you'd love to see us change, any issues you ran into, anything you're really enjoying about it, any feedback is always welcome.
Marianne likes the Nancy Drew books. Those were good for sure. I forgot about Hardy Boys. I read Hardy Boys quite a bit too as a kid.
Awesome. Yeah, I read a few of those. Some
other fans of Bobaverse, Beauty Bubble like Stuart Little and Little Mermaid. I definitely enjoyed Stuart Little. Consult the Blind Guy says, any plans on a dark mode option across the platform? This is a question my community asks me often. As a vision impaired user, it's a bit hard on the eyes. I don't have a date for you, Consult the Blind Guy, but it's definitely something we'd like to add. It's come up for a long time.
And we haven't mentioned this before. I'm not a huge fan of this, but you can download a Chrome extension that'll make any site go into dark mode. It's not going to look perfect, but if it's really hard on your eyes, it might be worth doing it. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a perfect solution, but it does work. So there are extensions to basically turn any non-dark mode site into dark mode.
Awesome, Joe Dog. Glad your guests are a fan of it.
Cool.
Sounds like DePaul was able to test it out as well. Awesome. Creative Lady is wondering, how will super chats work with guest destinations? Thanks. Yeah, so it's basically, it'll work essentially. I guess it depends where you're getting the super chats. So super chats on, say you're the host of the stream, super chats on your own channel will work exactly how they normally do. And on your guest destination, obviously you're not going to receive money from the super chats on your co-host or your guest's YouTube channel or anything like that. But I guess
will see it in the studio.
They will appear in the studio though. Yeah.
Yep. And if you've used so we always call it guest destinations. If you've used guest destinations yet, you'll notice that any of the comments coming on your guest channels, if you're the host, you'll see a little link icon for all of them. So that's how you know if it's on your destination or somebody else's. And if you're a guest and you add a destination, you'll also know if it's yours or someone else's.
Cool. Sounds like lots of folks have tried it out. Awesome. Nicothia says, are we able to stream to IG yet? So IG does not have an official sort of integration yet. It's sort of designed to be used directly from the Instagram app. However, they have started releasing the ability to RTMP in to a very select few group of users. So we have an article. If you go to StreamYard.com/contact, there's a help center at the bottom there that will show you sort of the steps to check if you do have access. So again, very small percentage of people, but if you happen to be in that percentage of people, you can actually stream to it as a custom RTMP destination.
Yep.
All right, let's see what else we have here. David Burrows says, nice to see you, David. Do they have to have a paid StreamYard account for them to share to their socials? No, they do not.
Yeah, so only the host. It only really matters what type of account the host has. So if you're a host and you're on a paid account, any of your guests can add destinations, assuming you turn the setting on.
Awesome. Gizzard Gary says, my community has experimented with guest destinations. There's some confusion with who is speaking with who in this chat or another, and using the giveaway tool. That's useful feedback, Gary. I appreciate that. So I assume, when like the host is addressing comments, people are essentially asking, what channel is this from? I'd be curious, is there anything that makes it different from multi-streaming? Like when, say, you're multi-streaming to your own platforms, is it just that either you don't multi-stream or your audience is already familiar with your own multi-streaming channels?
Yeah, or you're streaming out to, like, say, 4 YouTube channels and you want to know which one it's coming from? And if so, is it like just in the chat you're confused as to maybe which guest channel it's on? Or maybe, like giveaway, I guess, is a good example. That one I definitely get. After the giveaway ends, you don't actually know which channel they posted on. So that one I think we could probably fix.
Cool. Box says, why is there a delay between the StreamYard chat and YouTube? There shouldn't be much of a delay. If you mean like during this stream, Box, it just takes me a while to get through the comments. So I'm answering comments from a bit ago, but I believe they should come in every few seconds
usually.
Yeah. If that's not your experience, Box, reach out to support and we can troubleshoot with you. Awesome. Dr. Sev, glad that you're excited to try it.
Cool.
Noted art on RTMP source, Ardia. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate the feedback. All right, let's see if we had any final ones here before getting into the big announcement for tonight. Architectural sheet metal. That sounds like a cool channel. I have to check that out. Can you make StreamYard pick up on when a participant puts a Q in front of their question? Can StreamYard pick that up and start automatically? I think that's a really cool idea, architectural. It's definitely something we've chatted about. I don't know if we would do it where the way we've talked about it is maybe something that can automatically detect when questions are of a certain type that should be, surfaced in a different way. So it's definitely something we're exploring, is that type of functionality. Yep. Kathy says, are the titles only for those who pay for pro or higher, not an option on the free version? So the titles are on all plans, right, Dan?
Yeah, you mean like headlines, like this headline? That should be all plans.
Yeah, let us know if that's not what you mean. Kathy, that's awesome. Crayola, you definitely let us know how it goes. Glad you're excited for it. All right, there's a lot of questions here, but I want to make sure we have time for the announcement, because I definitely anticipate there being a lot of feedback. So let's go ahead and get into it. I am curious if any of you have a guess on what it is. I saw some correct guesses. I enjoyed reading through them, but I'll give you a bit of a hint. Now you can probably guess from that, since I assume you've never seen a layout like this, what it is. The new feature is, of course, custom layouts. We have another one that we'll show too when we're doing the giveaway, so you can get an idea of how it works. But yeah, well, we have a whole video from Dana walking through it that we'll walk through in a second here. But yeah, we're super excited for it. It's something that has been requested for a really long time. This is just the first iteration for it, so it'll be great to get your feedback on what you'd like to see next with custom layouts. But we're very happy with it. I think we've done, again, I'm sure I'm biased, but I think we and the team have done a good job of trying to stay true to making things really, really easy. So you don't have to use custom layouts. If you don't want to use custom layouts, you can just use the predefined ones. But if you are someone that really wants to control exactly what your stream looks like and sort of dig into the internals of how everything works, I think this is a really, really cool solution. So I guess anything to add there, Dan, or should, without further ado?
I think if we play the video, it'll give people a pretty good sense, and then I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions, and we can answer all of those.
Awesome. So yeah, we have a video from Dana here walking through all of it. So yeah, definitely let us know. I'll be starring comments as they come in. So here it is.
Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that we just launched custom layouts. You can now design your own high-quality layouts inside the studio. Choose to customize our existing layouts or create your own. You can use one or all of the 3 critical components to custom layouts: a dynamic camera grid, a camera slot, and a media slot. Each element has its own set of customization options, ensuring you have complete creative control over the design process. You can design and save up to 8 custom layouts, so they're easy to access for every show. Custom layouts are very easy to use. I'll walk you through it. Once you're in the studio, you'll now see a new plus sign and pencil icon for adding new layouts or editing current layouts. Let's create a new one together. I click the plus sign. When I'm setting up a new layout, I have the option to add an item. An item is either a dynamic camera grid, a solo camera slot, or a media slot. The dynamic grid is a unique, responsive camera grid that adjusts based on the number of participants that are on screen. The dynamic grid will automatically position based on its aspect ratio to help you create a professional looking custom layout. You can only have one dynamic camera grid. A camera slot is just a space for one camera. You can have up to 10 of these different camera slots. A media slot can be used for screen shares or long form video files. You can only have one of these per custom layout. I'm going to add a dynamic camera slot, and I'm going to select to preview it with 5 people because I have 5 guests. You can select to preview any number between 2 and 10 guests. Click the corners to resize your dynamic grid. Next, I'm going to add a media slot. I'll click on Add Item, then Media Slot. You can only have one media slot per custom layout. Once you've designed the perfect custom layout for your show, hit Save, and you'll be able to type in a name for this new custom layout. StreamYard will automatically create a new layout thumbnail for you, so you'll always know which layout to use. Here's another example of a custom layout. You can edit your custom layouts at any time. Just click the pencil icon here. You can even use custom layouts to feature a sign language interpreter in a camera slot in one of the corners of the screen, like this. And when you save a layout, it's not going to be active on the stage. You'll still have to select the layout to make it active. There's a lot of options when working with the dynamic grid. You can layer things forward or backwards. You can fit or fill the camera slots. You can choose the horizontal or vertical alignment, and you can use the participant previewer to see what it would look like with 2, 3, 4, up to 10 guests in the stream. You can also delete the entire camera grid if you'd like. Custom layouts means fully customized to you. You can drag and drop all of these elements on screen to put them in the perfect place for your show. Use the square corner handles to resize your element, and use the rectangle side handles to resize just the width or just the height. It's custom, so it's all up to you. To customize which layouts you see under the stream, click on the settings option, then click layouts. Uncheck the box for any layout layout you don't want to have available to you. You can just select the ones you've made. You can also rename or delete them from here. We recommend setting up all your custom layouts in advance, but if needed, you can create new custom layouts during a live stream. Although you can't assign a participant to a specific box, you can click to drag and drop people into the right places once the layout is active. Comments, banners, and tickers will still overlay the stream even when you're using custom layouts. Now you can fully customize where participants show up in your stream, a game changer for live streams and recordings. Custom layouts are available on all plans, so get started creating your new custom layout today. We're excited to see what you create. Happy streaming!
Awesome. So yeah, Dan and I are obviously super excited for it. I see lots of awesome questions and feedback. Looks like all of you are pretty stoked about it as well, which is really cool to see. I guess anything before jumping into the questions and feedback, Dan, to add to that?
The only part that just as we were watching the video that I don't think was mentioned is this is available on all plans. So free plan and all pay plans. So for anyone who's asking that question, I think that's probably it. I know there's a ton of questions. So yeah, we're happy to answer as many as we possibly can in the next 10 or 15 minutes or so.
Absolutely. Cool. So yeah, let's jump into it. So let's see. I saw several questions about hotkeys and whether or not custom layouts work with hotkeys. Do you want to take that one, Dan?
Yes, they absolutely do. So if you create, like in this case, we just created this custom layout. I could then bind, let's say we wanted to bind Shift 9 to this specific layout. We can do that the same way that you can bind, if anyone is using hotkeys now to bind to specific layouts, it works just like that. So yeah, very simple to use.
And they also, I think Dana covered it in the video too, but just to show you, they work just like the existing layout. So like they'll animate and are fully dynamic, just like StreamYard's built-in layouts.
Yep.
A couple quick ones here on guest destinations, just so I don't miss them. Came in, if someone wants to, if you want to have the guest show on for just a portion and not the whole stream, you can do that for just a period of time. Absolutely. And it does not end when they leave. It ends whenever you choose to like remove it as a destination or end the broadcast.
Yep.
And Sue says, RE guest destinations, love the feature. Would be helpful to know which platform or page a chat is coming from overall. That's definitely good feedback. Okay. Thanks, Sue. Sorry, what was that, Dan?
I just said noted. Got
it. Square Table Degenerate says, okay, I'm listening. Are these dynamic? Can you make people whatever size you want? Yes, absolutely. If I wanted to make me huge and Dan super small, it probably wouldn't be the best looking layout, but you could absolutely do that if you wanted to.
I'd be a little offended by that layout.
Yeah, it'd be like the talk show hosts that are like higher up than the other people.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fully customizable. The part I would call out though that I think is really important, and you saw it in that video, that dynamic camera grid that we added is very powerful. And this kind of comes down to how we always talk about StreamYard. We want to make things super, super simple. So one thing, if you guys are familiar with tools like OBS, like downloadable tools, they're typically quite complex to actually position things and set things up. We wanted to really simplify that while still giving you a bunch of control over what you do. So instead of you having, like, let's say you wanted to have 4 people on screen, instead of you having to position 4 separate camera pieces manually and having to make sure they're all aligned, and then what happens if you have 5 guests, what happens if you have 3 guests, things don't usually adapt very well. Whereas with this dynamic camera grid, we kind of handle all that. So it works pretty similarly to StreamYard's other layouts, where if you have 3 people on screen, it will just look good. If you have a 4th, it'll still just look good. Everything just kind of flows and adapts. This dynamic camera grid is just like that, has that same power, but you can position where it is and how you want it to behave in various ways. So no matter how many people you have on screen, it will just adapt naturally, but still following the constraints you give it, which ultimately just makes it very easy to use, but also super powerful. And that's kind of key to how StreamYard thinks about everything. So very excited about that specifically.
Absolutely. Aaron says, would love to know more about the vertical options and how does this work for trimming to shorts. So everything we showed for custom layouts is still being streamed out in 16:9. So sure, Dan and I could stack each other in the middle of the stream in that format, but the source feed would still be going out 16:9. It might be an interesting option if you're streaming somewhere that crops the size, because you do have a little bit more flexibility there. But in general, we're working on options to not, if you don't want to stream in 16:9, having other options, but that's not available yet, and it's not, other than what I just mentioned, it's not really related to custom layouts. Cool. Andrew says, can you assign a custom layout per brand? So I assume the question is like, does each brand have 8 custom layouts available?
Yeah, so if that is the question, so no, it is across your whole account. So it's 8 custom layouts in general. That's also the type of thing, like if your guys' feedback is, hey, I need 30 layouts, just let us know. That's where we want to get feedback on this stuff. Right now we have a limit of 8 in there just to kind of prevent things from getting too crazy, because it does look like a bit much when you have too many layouts, but there's no real limit on our end as to how many in theory you could have. So yeah, let us know if you do need more. It's not bound to a brand or anything. It is bound to your account. Hopefully that answers the question.
Tristan says, with custom layouts, how does each option adjust according to the comments, etc.? Do they all move up or only dynamic? You want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah, good question. So right now they do not shift for comments, and that's another thing as you guys play with it. If you have that feedback that, hey, it'd be really nice if they did, it's something we considered adding. They will shift the name tags for tickers. So if the name tag is getting covered, you put a ticker on screen, the name tag is covered by it, it will actually shift the name tag up, but it won't shift everything up for comments because we figured a lot of people wouldn't want it to do that. Yeah, hopefully that answers it.
I appreciate this comment. Nerem, I've never heard that analogy used, but that's super cool. I appreciate that. It's cool above the water and furious.
We should start using that when people ask why we have a duck logo.
Yeah, I enjoy that. That's cool.
I would also, I guess one other thing to mention, because this wasn't called out in the video. So it's not out yet, but it's rolling out throughout the week. So similar to, we announced guest destinations last week, and then it started to roll out throughout the week. Same thing here, where we're announcing custom layouts, and then it's going to roll out to everyone throughout the week. So sometime this week, you should have access. I know some of you are eager to go play with it right
now. Hey, Bruce, it's nice to see you. It's been a super long time. Hope you're doing well. So now you could create live streams that gamers use where the media could be shared from a screen share from a monitor, while the camera one could be laid over in the bottom corner right.
Yes.
So it gives you a ton of, so it gives you a ton of flexibility of where everything is. So yeah, you can essentially position things exactly how you like. That's one cool thing too. Like, for example, some of the initial feedback on the picture-in-picture layout was, hey, it would be nice if it was on the right side instead of the left side. So now it's actually super easy. What you could do is make a new custom layout, clone it from the existing pip layout, and just drag over the dynamic grid, and you essentially have that in a matter of, probably 10 seconds or so to set it up. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it would literally take 10 seconds to build a new layout where the camera's in the bottom right instead of the bottom left. Or even less if you've done it before.
Awesome. Speak English. I'm glad you're loving StreamYard. Marianne says, can the layout have 16 by 9? So the stream output is always going to, we will have more options in the future, but as it has been historically and is today, the stream is output in 16 by 9. The videos themselves, like the camera elements, they don't have to be 16 by 9. You can make them 16 by 9 if you want them to. You can also sort of crop them, which we'll show you when we do the giveaway. Yeah, you can also make them like this, where they're sort of cropped. And
yeah. So one of the things, both with that dynamic camera grid and with individual cameras, you can kind of resize them. Like if you wanted to have 4 people side by side, you could do something where they're all quite thin. You can do stuff like that. And yeah, when we do the giveaway, we'll show another custom layout that gives an example as to the type of stuff you can do, but you can really kind of do anything.
Cool. Beauty Bubble says, do the placements magic lock in place so everyone is all together perfectly shaped? Hope my question is understood. I think I understand, Beauty, but if I misunderstand it, definitely let me know. So you have a few options there. We do have a nicely snapping grid. So if you're dragging an element around, it will nicely snap to the center and in different areas on the stream, and also snap together. So like when I was creating this, for example, I placed myself and I was able to just drag Dan's video element over and snap it so it's perfectly aligned with my own. Like making this layout literally took me 10 seconds to make. And then the really powerful one that Dan was mentioning is the dynamic grid is where sort of it takes care of all kinds of stuff. So you can sort of do a horizontal dynamic grid or a vertical dynamic grid of various shapes and sizes, and it will just sort of work. Everything will be placed how you would expect it to be placed. And if it isn't, let us know, because we'd love to sort of adjust it based on everyone's feedback.
Yep. And yeah, just to give an example of the dynamic grid. So, a lot of you are familiar with all of StreamYard's existing layouts. All of our existing layouts are built using this dynamic grid. So all the dynamic stuff that happens when you add people and things shift and whatnot, those are all just made with dynamic grids.
Yeah, I think that's a really good example of how powerful it is too, that you could theoretically, all the default layouts we have could be created with this new functionality of custom layouts. Pixelpia says, question, can we change where the comments will show as well? So not at this time, Pixelpia, but that's super useful feedback. And there is a future iteration attached to this that's coming soon that we're really, really excited about as well. So I know I've sort of been alluding to, some more powerful things coming to StreamYard. This is just the first part of it. There's some even more powerful, maybe not. I think they're both really, really cool, but you'll see in the future some of the other stuff that is just as big as this update that's coming soon. Let's see what else we had here. See quite a few more questions about hotkeys. So you can tie it to hotkeys. Absolutely. Tristan says, for custom layouts, can you use the camera for your own second camera? That's a good question. How does this extra camera feature work with custom layouts, Dan?
So it basically just behaves like any other camera.
Okay.
So yeah, and I know there's some questions too around, hey, can you assign someone to a specific spot on the screen? So the way it works, just to give a rough overview, and you'll get a sense of it when you start to play with it yourself. But if say you had like and if you're familiar, if you watch the video, there's the individual camera slots and then there's the dynamic grid. When you add people to the screen, they'll start to fill the individual camera slots in order of how you add them. So if say you had a custom slot in the bottom corner for an interpreter, like a sign language interpreter, that would be the first spot. And maybe you just use a dynamic grid. The first spot, whoever you add first is going to fill that spot, and then everyone else is just going to fill the dynamic grid in order. And then, of course, as you're probably familiar with, you can drag and drop people to move them around. But the second camera would be just like any other camera. It's going to be positioned in whatever order you add it to the stream. And then we are, like Gage said, we're working on going even deeper now and adding other functionality so that, yeah, maybe we will allow you to bind people to specific layouts or kind of really allow more customization there, or also like dragging the comments, dragging the tickers. We'll see. But yeah, for now, it's mostly focused on media and camera slots.
Cool. Should we go ahead and start queuing up the giveaway, Dan? I'm aware that we're missing.
We might go a bit over on this one.
Yeah, we'll go a little bit late on the questions, but also next week, obviously, we'll have plenty of time to talk more about custom layouts. Michael says, "Oh yeah, this is another example. Dan and I built this right before the show started. So this is and another example of how you can totally change how a particular layout that you've been using might work." Michael says, do we have custom integrations with StreamYard yet? I know that's hard work because it's browser-based, but when you are on a presentation, hotkeys do not work. So most things actually are possible within the browser, Michael. So definitely don't limit your feature requests based on that. I think, I know we can address everything even with it being based in the browser. I guess any thoughts on the presentation specifically? If there's other integrations too that you're talking about beyond presentations, let us know, Michael. But
yeah, so depends what kind of custom integration you're talking about. But if you mean like a Stream Deck or something like that, and the fact that, yeah, if you're not focused on the browser, you can't really click the Stream Deck keys. I definitely hear it. There is, like Gage said, it is physically possible to achieve stuff like that. So I wouldn't fully limit it out. But yeah, I'm not sure when that stuff would come. And if you mean something else with custom integration, let us know. And just to show actually another example of how, so I believe we're using a dynamic grid here. If I remove myself.
Yeah, so you can see when Dan removed himself, I fully adjust. That's sort of the power of the dynamic grid is it just adjusts like the regular layouts, even though we've placed this in an entirely custom location. I just realized I forgot to give the instructions for the giveaway, but it looks like most people are familiar. But yeah, Dan and I always do these at the end of the streams. Tonight we'll give away a StreamYard pillow and a StreamYard sweater. To be eligible, just type in hashtag the yard for a chance to win. We'll give you 10 or 15 seconds or so while I do a few more questions. Hosni, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right, says, will the online recording and local recordings incorporate the custom layouts? So the online recording, like the mixed recording, absolutely will. The way local recordings work is they're individual ISO tracks of what was a perfect copy of what was recorded, right? So the whole purpose of local recordings is that you can take those local recordings and sort of use them within like an editing tool like Premiere or something like that. So you could use those local recordings to recreate what you did in StreamYard, but the mixed recording would be what you'd want if you just want it to look exactly how it did during the live stream. But there are future plans that we have with local recordings to potentially be able to use them in ways that don't necessarily require you to be using something like Premiere, which we're excited about. All right.
One more, or do you want to do the giveaway?
Let's do one more and then roll the I guess this is a comment more than a question. But awesome, Curly. Glad that StreamYard's working well for you with poor cell signals. That's awesome. So let's do the giveaway and then we'll go do a couple more questions.
For a sweater and a pillow?
For a sweater and a pillow. Should I do the drum roll?
Yeah, let's do it. Don't forget to turn down the volume.
Yeah, I got it. I've got it down. Ready when you are.
All right, good luck, everyone.
Turnbuckle Talk. It's an awesome page name. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight, and congrats on winning your brand new StreamYard pillow and your StreamYard sweater. If you could shoot an email to contact@streamyard.com, the team can get your address and everything shipped with the right size and everything like that. So,
sorry, I messed up your layout.
Oh no, it's all good. Cool. So yeah, again, totally understand that there's a ton of awesome questions tonight. So we'll make sure that we have all of these starred and we'll come back to them. We'll come back to them next time as well. And then we'll have the whole time next week to talk about everything too. And I'll do one more question here. Sergio says, when are you able to do vertical video? So we actually do have an integration now with Shorts and Reels. So in that sense, for repurposing, you can actually do vertical video, but we do absolutely want to support it for live streaming as well. I don't have an exact date, but I can tell you the team is working on it. All right. Super exciting. Thank you all so much for all the great questions and hanging out with us tonight. Super fun. I know the whole StreamYard team was super excited about launching this. So can't wait. Like Dan mentioned, it's rolling out throughout this week. So can't wait to see you guys use it and get all the feedback from you. And we'll see you. We'll see you next week at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thanks again.
Awesome. See you next week, everyone.